want to ask you about Game 2 of the NBA Finals, because in hour number 1, we had our buddy Brett Siegel on of Clutch Points, and he brought up the point of Luka Doncic after a loss, and that has been a big angle I think a lot of bettors have been attacking throughout this postseason. Is that where you would go in the prop market, maybe Luka to go over the point total, because he's averaging, 34 points or so after the Mavericks lose a game in the playoffs? Is that kind of something that you would be interested in?
What is it set at, Femi? Do you know?
I would imagine it's probably around the same, because it was 31.5 yesterday.
He looked mid-third quarter like he was going to get there. What do you have, 27?
He might have had 40, honestly.
Yeah, right. And he was hitting threes from everywhere. But off to a slow start, obviously, in that first half.
Luka is 31.5, same number.
I think I wouldn't play it under.
Yeah,
I would say
over.
You've got to, I think if you're Jason Kidd, you've got to talk to Kyrie about playing within himself. And I know he's fantastic, and he had some highlight shots where he the jump back, and he does that. But he was forcing shots, trying to get to the rim. That's a big contributor to Boston having 10 block shots last night. I thought Kyrie was doing too much. Does it have to do with his time in Boston, the reaction with the fans? He hasn't always been the best since leaving there. But I think he needs to play a little bit more within himself. P.J. Washington is an incredible offensive talent to me with his size and what he can do. I'd rather get him more touches than have – I thought Kyrie dominated the ball too much last night when he got it. So saying that, I think that also would help the Doncic prop if Kyrie steps back a little bit.
And also Washington and Derrick Jones, those are guys that were making those corner threes in previous series against Oklahoma City and Dallas, and we didn't really see that success against the Boston Celtics in Game 1. Would you bet the side? We've seen a little bit of Dallas money come in. It opened 7.5, 7. Westgate's 6.5 now. You would take the 7.
Bill Cramsey texted me immediately when the game ended, what's Game 2 going to be? I said, I think it's 7. And then I saw 7.5. I took 7.5.
So you already bet it. All right.
Right. I took 7.5. I like Dallas to come back here. Will I sprinkle the money line? I'm not sure. Because I sort of have the money line bet with my over 5.5 games, right?
Yeah.
So
you don't want more money?
225. Well, you can never be too careful when you're gambling, Femi. Just remember that.
That is a good pro tip, honestly. But here's the thing why I would advocate for a money line bet for you, since you like Dallas in this game, is that in these close games, Boston can be a little, and if they're going to cover 7, it's going to be a close game. So I think you're almost obligated to take some plus 220, but it doesn't have to be big.
Is this the clunker? You think this is the clunker?
They've done it 2 times already this postseason.
Do you like Dallas more Dallas? Do you like Boston more in Game 3 than in Game 2? I would ask you that from this perspective, right?
100%.
Okay, yeah.
I was texting with my brother. He was like, "Are you going to bet game?" Because I didn't bet the game yesterday. I was like, "I got my Tatum bet. I'll just see how things play out." He's like, because he bet it, and he was like, "Oh, I kind of want to double down." And I was like, I'm going to wait for the series to shift to Dallas before I bet Boston. Get a little bit. I mean, it's gonna be like what, Boston 1, 2.
I would think 2.
Yeah, I'd rather bet that than to lay 7 with this team that, hey, as good as they are, they kind of have those loafing moments and be like, oh wow, the Celtics just went 20 minutes of just jacking up threes or playing iso ball, and all of a sudden Dallas is in control. But one of the reasons why I'm so confident in the Boston Celtics, and I know we have a soundbite from Jason Tatum on Kristaps Porzingis, is that Porzingis makes such a big difference for this Boston Celtics team. It's one of the reasons why they won 64 games. I mean, they put together a heck of a roster, and we saw all throughout this postseason, no Porzingis. He got hurt, I believe it was April 29th in that series, the first round against the Miami Heat, and he went through the second round, the conference finals, no Porzingis. And I think almost as a betting public and also recreational basketball fans, we forgot how good this team is with Porzingis. Well, here's Jason Tatum after the game, after dominant victory on the Porzingis performance, 20 points last night against Dallas.
Yeah, and I think you guys got a pretty clear picture of that throughout the season, right? When we were healthy for most of that, and how we played and how effective we were on both ends. And, KP had a big hand in that and the success that we had this season. And, obviously getting hurt in the playoffs, we had to figure it out. We had to adjust and play different lineups and whatever. And 12-2 up until that point, we did a really good job. But it is a relief to have him back, because we know we're a much better team when he's back.
Yeah, and Tatum acknowledges right there a much better team with Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis comes off the bench, scores 20 points. Obviously, he was the big headliner in the game, just because I don't think many people expected that kind of performance after missing a pretty significant amount of time in the playoffs.
You made a comment in the first hour I thought was a bit hyperbolic, and you said the current series price of minus 435 should have been the pre-flop price. I would agree, though, that if the public knew Porzingis would be 100%, it wouldn't have been minus 210. Yeah. Maybe then it's $3 or a little over $3. Right? That's obviously it's a big factor on the defensive end too because of his height and his length. So that's where we sit there. But interesting. It's very interesting. The difference that one person can make and how people can forget because he wasn't there. Yep. But also the thought was maybe he's not going to be there till Game 3 in Dallas, right? And then he comes out and says, I'm playing Game 1.
And to a lot of people's credit, he was kind of touch and go with his comments. He was like, yeah, let's see how this goes. And like, yeah, I'm running pain-free, but like was kind of like, wasn't convincing when speaking with the media to where like I interpreted his comments, I was like, oh, like is he going to make it through the game? I just want to see how this goes, and it went pretty well with 20 points off the bench. But yeah, like he didn't sound super confident that he was going to be like this, and he even said after the game, I was running on pure adrenaline. The crowd kind of motivated me, and like he got the standing ovation going out there for shoot around and everything. Like the Boston fans were definitely excited to see him back on the floor, and you see why with what he was able to do.